Hey, it's Rav. Welcome to the Everyday Investor TV show, the hottest investment show in the world. That's right, I said it. I don't care who knows it. This show is designed to help us grow our money. Now, we only have 22, 23 minutes of teaching time because we've got to add in commercials, and that's what makes the 30-minute show. So we're going to teach, but we don't have time to answer your questions. So we've got a solution. everydayinvestor.com. Sign up for the Everyday Investor Summit happening October 29th, where we have 7 different strategies to teach you in order to grow your money. It's basically free. Light lunch, lunch is provided. Light breakfast, lunch is provided. You don't want to miss this, because this will be a place where you get to have all of your questions answered. We're going to teach you how I'm making over 20% annualized returns on some of the projects, whether it's land development, investing in apartment buildings, the rent-to-own strategy. Imagine having an insurance policy, a death benefit for your loved ones that continues to grow, but you can borrow against that policy and invest it in real estate. You'll learn how to make money with stock options. You'll learn how to make money with pre-construction condos. Imagine having money spit out to you every single month. Cash flow, investing in mortgage. There's a ton of knowledge. That's all it's about. Teach. Nothing to sell. I want to see you there October 29th. Coming up, we're talking to our good friend Mat Piche, teaching us how we can flip homes.
So we're not really buying deals on the MLS, although lately we kind of are with the change of what's going on, but most of the time it's seller direct. So the way we get these is by doing all the marketing your viewers probably know or are annoyed with getting the flyers in your mailbox saying we buy houses, no commission, all that.
The mortgage world has changed. Has your advice? Are you looking for a modern approach to your mortgage planning process? Advice tailored to your unique, ever-changing circumstances? Whether you're upsizing, downsizing, purchasing, or refinancing, the Kyle Ford Mortgage team works with individuals and companies to custom tailor the right mortgage product for you. Working with a wide selection of lenders, we're here to serve our clients and help them achieve their real estate and retirement goals. Contact the Kyle Ford Mortgage team today, Canada's mortgage choice.
Hey, it's Rob. Welcome back to Everyday Investor. I'm talking to my good friend, Mat Piche. Matt, thank you so much for being on the show with me. I know you're super busy investing in real estate, flipping homes, doing some really cool stuff in Florida, Texas, I believe. You have a family. Tell me about your little munchkin there. How old?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. Yeah, our baby, it's not a baby anymore, a toddler. He just turned 2. So yeah, navigating business life, new dad life, it's all crazy.
No, it's fantastic. I remember during COVID, you said, Rav, I'm going to take off. I'm going to go down south, and whether it's Texas, whether it's Florida, you were just going to figure it out. And so I'm very inspired that, you were able to do that. You, the lady, and your son or daughter?
Son.
Your son, yeah. And then I know we spoke a little bit, and you asked me, Rav, where do I like to be in Florida? And I said, I like the Gulf side, Naples. And of course, you don't invest just because it's a sexy area. You invest where the numbers work. But you happened to create an Airbnb in the Naples area where you're, charging $1,000 a night in high season. So very, very inspiring. Tell me about your life now, because in a few minutes, we'll look at a flip that you just did in London here in 2023, which is very cool, making north of 6 figures. So kind of what is the Piche family up to? What are you doing? What are you thinking about doing in the future? Fill us in, because it's been a while since you've blessed us with your presence on the show here.
Yeah, so we're just mostly all about flipping still. We're heavily flipping. I think last time I talked to you, we were doing that. So we're still flipping heavily in Canada, but we're no longer buying rental properties in Ontario or Canada at all. I just don't think it works anymore, which I'm sure we can talk more about that. So flipping in Canada, and then long-term investing in Florida and Texas.
Nice. And so what do you have in Texas?
So we have 3 Airbnbs in Austin, Texas. So we're just trying out that. But the main strategy in Texas actually is single family rentals, long-term rentals. So the boring stuff that I've done since 2012 that I used to do in Kitchener, we're just doing the 2.0 version in Texas, where we really believe, like all the fundamentals are strong GDP growth, job growth, population growth, all of that easy stuff is in Texas. And then for more of the fun Airbnb short-term strategy, we're doing that in Florida.
Nice. And how much hands-on are you? Like, I mean, obviously, I know you do your diligence, you go down there, but once you kind of set up systems, are you still hands-on, or do you have different teams that are helping you?
Yeah, I'm pretty hands-off at this point. If I had to put an hour amount of per week that I work on my actual real estate business, it's probably only 3 to 4 hours a week. I have a whole team that manages everything in Canada and in the States. It's pretty easy, turnkey, cookie cutter. We just kind of turn things over. Everything's a system on renovations, the whole process. I spend most of my time nowadays on social media, just working on the branding, getting all the videos out to attract the partners to come into the business, which allows me to buy more real estate. So I'm really more of a YouTuber these days, but the real estate business is totally on autopilot pretty much. I have 13 employees full time, and they do all of the day-to-day stuff. That's
fantastic. So if little old Rav wanted to partner with you, I would be the money partner. You'd be, the expert partner and working partner, if you will, even though you're delegating and kind of GCing, general contracting, all these things out. People can invest with you. You're still, because I wasn't sure if you were, just doing it all on your own, or are you welcoming partners, money partners, and then you do a certain split with them?
Yeah, so we're always looking for partners all the time. So for the flipping in Canada, we don't necessarily partner on the flips. We just kind of raise money. So we pay our investors 12%. That's the average rate we're paying people. So you can more than happy invest with our flips for that, for a private lender kind of scenario. And then in the States, we're doing a full-on partnership. So you bring all the money, I would do all the work. We'll keep the property for 5 years, sell it, and then split all the profits 50-50, like a true partnership.
Wow, that's fantastic. And when you say 12%, that's over a year. So if you do a flip and it takes 6 months, I lent you $100,000, I get my $100,000 back plus $6,000, correct?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Nice. And okay, great. And so why not fully in Texas? Why not fully in Florida? Why not fully in Ontario? Talk to me a little bit about that, which, I think it's smart to diversify. You're still under the umbrella of real estate. But what is your thinking there?
Yeah, exactly. So we just want to protect ourselves a little bit. And then my thinking is it's kind of recession proof, or as recession proof as real estate can get. In Ontario, we have our active stuff, the flipping, which can come and go. But we've seen in the past year with interest rates and the scare of all what's going on in the world, real estate's taking a back seat in terms of valuation, in terms of fear. So in times like that, we pull back on the flipping maybe a little bit, but it always makes sense to buy long-term real estate, no matter what's going on in the market. So again, we have the boring, long-term, easy peasy single family in Texas. And then we have a mix, to try and change things up a little more. We have kind of the blend of the two. It's a long-term investing strategy, but with that active income coming in from Airbnb, so higher cash flow. So we're kind of hitting all scenarios of the market, of the economy. So really, no matter what's going on in the world, we can make money in real estate with 1, 2, 3, or all the strategies for sure.
Now, are all your properties in the States Airbnb, or do you have some long-term tenants?
So we're just launching the Texas stuff now. So we're going to be planning to get more long-term stuff. But right now we just have Airbnbs rolling.
And obviously they're more lucrative than long-term tenant. But if you did put a long-term tenant, for example, into Naples or whatever the case, would the number still work?
So it really wouldn't work or barely work. So that is the risk of Airbnb, especially in Florida. But Florida is such a vacation state. It's been proven over decades and decades. So the odds of that industry flipping on its head, not likely, especially for buying the right areas that we're looking at. We're 10 minutes, 20 minutes from the water. That's world class. You can't get that no matter what's going on in the world. People are always going to want that. So it is a risk, just like any investment, but the odds, of that industry flipping on its head, highly unlikely. So,
yeah, and I know your property in Florida. I go there just down the street, but when you say 20, 30 minutes, that's a walk. 20, 30 minute walk.
Yeah.
I mean, where your
Naples,
property is,
yeah.
you can drive that in 3 minutes, 2 minutes, right? So that's
so Naples is where that property is, which is also our winter home for our family, which makes a great Airbnb, but they're really expensive. We're focusing actually more in Cape Coral, which is 30 minutes up the road. So that's really where we're focusing on the Airbnbs with the partners, because houses are way cheaper. It's easier to get in, more lax regulations in terms of Airbnb rentals. So that's actually the main place we want to buy. Although Naples would be fantastic, I just need a lot of partners with big pockets to buy properties in Naples.
Now in Cape Coral, I know there's a lot of lots there that you can pick up for cheap, relatively speaking. Would you buy land and build, or do you like the kind of the turnkey, buy it, fix it up, and then Airbnb it? What's your style?
Yeah, so I like to buy something that's already existing, that's really ugly, beat up, kind of the ugliest house on the street, renovate it, get some equity in there, and make it the nicest house on the street. That's where we get the most valuation. But more importantly, in Cape Coral, all of those lots for sale are more North Cape Coral. So we're talking 30, 40 minutes to get to the beach. It's a long drive. There's not much infrastructure there yet. So we focus more on Southern Cape Coral, which is all built up, stores everywhere. It's only 15, 20 minutes to the ocean. So we like South Cape Coral specifically.
Yeah. No, I stayed in Cape Coral for 2.5 months, rented a house, and beautiful, beautiful beach there. And, it's got the most canals, I think, per capita in America.
Yeah.
And you could take a boat out, and, it's very, very, very cool. So what's the strategy in terms of financing, Matt? Is it like how much equity do you keep in these American properties, whether it's Texas, whether it's Cape Coral, whether it's Naples? Does the 20% still work? Are you doing 50%? Are you paying all cash and then refinancing? How are you structuring that?
Yeah, so all the financing, whether it's Texas or Florida or anywhere, is pretty much all the same for us being a foreign national buyer, and it requires 30% down. But with the prices being so cheap, like it's kind of a joke in comparison to the properties we're used to in Toronto, Kitchener, Waterloo area. It's so cheap. So that's really the only requirement. But the reason why we like the US so much is not only like all the fundamentals and where it's going, but the ease of business. So to get a mortgage here in Canada, like it's a gong show. You got to jump through all the hoops, tax statements from 10 years ago, like all this crazy stuff. In the US, it's just 30% down. Show me where the money came from to make sure it's not like, drug money or whatever. And will the property cash flow over and above what this mortgage will be? If the answer is yes to all three questions, you get the mortgage, period. No credit checks, no credit card statements, no T1 generals, nothing. It's just pure business. Wow.
And so in Cape Coral, the purchase price of one of your properties is what?
Like 350, 400,000 for a nice beat up property. We're looking for a 4-bed ideally, and it must have a pool.
Okay, so we're looking at a single detached. We're looking at $400,000 or so. You said 30%. Rav wants to partner with Matt because Matt is such a smart guy. I give you $120,000, maybe a few more thousand for closing costs. And now we have a property together. You manage it, you do all the work. Rav writes a check, and then we get to split 50-50.
Simple as that. That's it.
Fantastic.
Exactly.
Fantastic. And we're looking at debt reduction on that mortgage. We're looking at appreciation of the value. We're looking at a little bit of cash flow. And then we revisit this in 5 years.
Exactly. That's it.
That's fantastic. Okay, great. Well, listen, let's take a look at one of your properties. I mean, for you to tell me you're doing this in Texas and this in Florida, and I believe it. And again, it's inspiring for an Ontario boy with his family to go and do that. But what's even more inspiring is that you made 6 figures in 2023 flipping a house an hour and a half away from Toronto. And so I want to talk about that when we come back from the break. We're talking to my good friend, smart friend, determined friend, Mat Piche. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, Omar Khan here from Data Trading. I'm really excited to be part of the Everyday Investor Summit Sunday, October 29th, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Myself, Rav Toor, and 6 other industry professionals will be talking all about wealth creation. Yours truly will be talking about options. I'll be there to answer your questions all day. Tickets are only $197. We're expecting a full house that does include a light breakfast and a full lunch. And as Warren Buffett says, the more you learn, the more you earn. So I hope to see you there.
Hey, it's Rav. A few years back, I learned about trading stock options by taking the Theta Trading course. My son, my friends, myself, all of us benefited immensely by applying their strategies, and I want you to have that same benefit by taking their course as well. I'm not receiving any monetary benefit whatsoever by telling you this. It's just that, as you know, I believe that knowledge mitigates risk. Visit their site to find out more. Hey, it's Rav. Welcome back to The Everyday Investor. I'm talking to my good friend Matt. He's teaching us how we can grow our money. And so, Matt, thank you so much for being on the show with me. Before the break, we talked about your investments in Texas, in Florida. But what's crazy is you are still making money in Ontario right here, 2023. We're in the summer of 2023. This will air in a month or so. And you're making six figures. So did you just luck out? What are you doing? And also, what's really exciting is people like Rav can get involved, lending you money if it's here in Ontario, or joint venturing with you, just a sexy word for partnership, 50-50 if we're doing other things, and everything's negotiable, of course, but you don't mind if the viewers give you a call if they're interested in working with you, yeah?
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Okay, so teach me a little bit about how you did this. Where is this property? How did you come across it?
Yeah, so this specific property is in London, and the way we get our deals, 9 times out of 10, or more than that, almost 10 out of 10, we're going to seller direct. So we're not really buying deals on the MLS, although lately we kind of are with the change of what's going on, but most of the time it's seller direct. So the way we get these is by doing all the marketing your viewers probably know or are annoyed with getting the flyers in your mailbox saying we buy houses, no commission, all that. We're those people. So we send out flyers, we do Facebook ads, we do online ads, targeting sellers who want to sell their home direct without a realtor, not putting on the market. And the reason they're selling to us really is because honestly, they're embarrassed. Their house is usually very run down. There's stuff everywhere. It's most oftentimes like a hoarder house. So they do not want strangers walking through their house. They don't want their family members seeing their property on the market with the pictures. There's no way. So they're selling their property direct to us for convenience. You know, our offers are firm, all cash. There's no negotiating. There's no condition, no home inspection. So the sellers really love that. So in order to do that, you know, to provide that convenience, we're usually getting a smoking deal on the property because it's so beat up and the seller just wants to sell it immediately. So we picked up this townhome for a very cheap price of $170,000.
And Matt, you also are saving the seller their 5% commissions, if you will, anyways.
Exactly.
So you're saving that, Nobody's in their home. Now, how much would you spend? I don't know if you break it down because obviously you're picking up lots of properties, but how much would you say you spend on marketing just to be able to buy this property?
Yeah, so we spend about $25,000 a month on flyers and Facebook ads.
$25,000 a month. And so when you spend that $300,000 a year, how many of these would you get?
We're getting about 18 to 20 flips on average per year, each one on average being about $75,000 net profit.
Wow. So you're making 1.5 million and spending 300 to do it.
It makes sense. It's a good business.
I like your style, brother. I like your style. Okay, so we picked this property up for $170K, and then what? And when was this? When did we close on this?
Yeah, we closed on it on April 4th, 2023, this year.
Incredible. April 23, this year. And what did we do?
Yeah, so we spent about $121,000 in renovations, you know, with the closing cost, you know, land transfer tax, about $1,400, lawyer fees, about $1,800, property taxes, about $2,000, et cetera, with all the expenses and the private lender, by the way, who gave us $400,000 to buy this property. You know, we paid them about $18,000 in interest, so that was great for them. So with all the costs in renovations, realtor fees, et cetera, we were in the deal for $326,000. We sold it just 2 days ago, actually, so end of August here for $450,000. Okay, so sorry, you bought it for $170, but the entire deal you're in for what? $326,000.
$326. So $326 minus the purchase price of $170. Do you have a calculator there? 615. So you put about all your fees, expenses were just over $150,000, but bottom line, you're in it for 326. Okay. And you sold it for what?
450.
450. And you sold it when?
Just 2 days ago. So mid-August.
Mid-August 2023. And so you made 125,000. Is that right?
Yep. Pretty close.
Wow. April, May, June, July, August, in less than 6 months, you made 125,000.
Exactly.
And you said your average is about 75.
Yeah, average is about 75, yeah.
Okay, so Matt, question begs, if you're doing this and we're doing 20 a year, you know, I would think you just put more fuel on the fire and we keep going. Why the Texas and the Florida? And I think I know the answer because, again, you're a very smart guy and we don't know what happens with our government. Listen, I am grateful to live in this great country. I'm grateful to pay over 50% taxes. You Google best places to live, quality of life. It's going to be all the countries with social justice. It's going to be a few in Australia, New Zealand, few Nordic, 2-3 cities in Canada. I'm born and raised here. I don't know any better. Now, where I was a little disillusioned, if I have to be honest, and you know, nobody should be watching this show if I'm not honest, was when COVID happened, right? And so a lot of my friends, such as you, were like, you know, Rav, this is a little too turbulent for me. I still love our country. I still love our province. But I'm also going to, you know, safeguard, hedge, if you will, and go look elsewhere as well. Is that the answer to my question of why not just stay here and keep making money? Is the answer, Rav, not everything is about money. It's also about freedom. It's also about making sure I protect my family.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So as good as Canada is, you know, every country has its problems, of course. So we want to keep doing more flips, and we will. It's just right now with the economy, we don't want to go too, you know, heavy into flipping, even though we are, but even heavier, like 40 flips, 50 flips a year. We do want to get to that point in Ontario. We just think we're not quite there yet until they start lowering rates, and then we really know where the world's going to go. Then we'll double down, triple down even more. But to answer the question of why we're doing the US, that's exactly it. We just wanted to, you know, put some money somewhere else, have a little safety guard, separate ourselves from Canada a little bit more, just in case. You never know. You know, America is more free. It's more capitalistic. That has pros and cons as well. But for, you know, business reasons and money reasons, it makes perfect sense to expand also to the States, especially with a more long-term strategy, the more boring strategy of rental properties. So we're hitting all areas of like the wealth wheel. We got the active stuff with the flips. We got the boring stuff in Texas, the mid-boring stuff in Florida. It all just works really, really well, I think.
And, well, no, you're right. It is working for you. I've known you for a while now, and every time I talk to you, it's you inspire me. Do you still have buy and holds in Ontario, or have we sold those?
So I've sold all 50 rental properties, except for one that it was our very first property. It's just down the street from our house. A family friend lives in it, so it's super easy. I'll keep that one. But yeah, I sold all the rental properties off. No more long-term rentals in Ontario, especially with the Ontario Landlord Tenant Board just going the way it's going. It doesn't make any sense in my mind to do business in Ontario.
Tell me a little bit about that. Tell me about the LTB and why it's not favorable for investors in your opinion.
Yeah, so even though with all of our rental properties, I never really ever had a bad experience with a tenant. I only had one kind of, and they ended up paying rent anyway, like a week later. So it was a pretty good horror story. But even though with all that success we've had, which I feel because we have such high quality properties, we attracted the right tenants, but you never know. So in Ontario, you know, a tenant can easily not pay rent for 6 months, 8 months, 12 months easily and totally get away with it scot-free, no damage to their credit rating, you get nothing, and then off to the next one so they can do it again. That's broken. You know, for example, in Florida, if you did have a long-term property, you know, that tenant is gone in 30 days. They have like 5 days to pay rent. And if they don't, they're out. In Texas, even better. They have 3 days to pay rent. If they don't, they're out in 2 to 3 weeks. No appeals, no story of what's going on in their life, even though, you know, things happen in people's lives. I get it. But the sheriff literally comes, drags you out. You're done. There's no appeal. There's no extending the court date. It's over. So it just makes more sense to buy for long-term real estate in an area where you control your own property. It's your mortgage, you're on title. It's crazy to me to even think that what happens in Ontario happens when I'm used to now America of, this is my property, this is my mortgage, it's my name on title, but you can just stay in it and rob me and put me bankrupt maybe? I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, no. That makes a lot of sense. Listen, Matt, it's so great to learn from you. Thank you so much for being on the show with me. I just can't wait to have you back again soon and see what you're doing in Ontario as well as in the US. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Anytime.
And now it's time for our teaching tip of the week.
Hi, it's Darren Mitchell, and this week in the teaching tip, I want to answer frequently asked questions we get about infinite banking or infinite banking policies. Number one, can I use corporate money or corporate dollars? And the answer is absolutely yes. Now, I'm going to put a little caveat with that. Again, talk to your wealth coach, make sure it's structured properly. Ideally, we want a holding company, not an operating company, but we can roll it over. But yes, you can use those tax-efficient corporate dollars to fund a life insurance policy, an infinite banking policy inside the corporation, grow it tax-free, access those loans tax-free for the business. Death benefit's going to flow out tax-free, and the death benefit, all or most of it, will actually flow out of the corporation direct to your family, assuming they're going to inherit the shares, completely without tax or almost no tax, depending upon when you die. So yes, you can use corporate dollars. The next question we get is, do I have to take loans against an infinite banking policy? Absolutely not. The policy on itself, standalone, it's a great asset that's going to grow tax-free. It's probably going to cash value right now. You're probably looking at 4 to 5% plus tax-free growth, plus the death benefit. So you don't necessarily have to take a loan. If you want to take advantage of those opportunities, you can. Some people just use it as their emergency/opportunity fund, and if the opportunities don't come, it's just a great place to store money all on its own. The next question I get is, Darren, what if I'm uninsurable? Well, if you're uninsurable, all you need to do is go down the street, find some guy that looks insurable and ask him for his health. Well, no, you can't do that. But what you can do, let's say you're uninsurable. Do you have a spouse? Do you have a child? Do you have a business partner? Someone you have a connection with? Ideally family member or business partner, you can actually own an infinite banking policy on that individual. You own it, you control it, you access the loans, you cancel it, take the money back, you benefit from the death benefit. Everything about the policy is yours. We just substituted who the life insured is. So the answer to that is yes, you can. Another question we get is, Darren, infinite banking policies, they sound too good to be true. Like, how come everyone isn't doing this? Well, we do get that question a lot. And the answer is the people that know about it are doing it. If you look at what the wealthy are doing, if you look what the big corporations are doing, what the bank themselves are investing in, it's high cash value life insurance. So we like to tell people, once people know about it, they tend to do it. But the banks can't sell it, so the banks aren't going to promote it. In Canada last year, over $1 billion went into cash value life insurance. So it's not a small thing, it's actually huge. The next question we get is, Darren, what if I go bankrupt or get sued? What happens to my infinite banking policy? Well, if it's set up properly and it's personally held and you get a family member as a beneficiary, you could have creditor protection. You could get sued or go bankrupt and have $1 million cash value, and the creditors won't be able to access your cash value. Again, set up correctly, a couple things, but if you know what you're doing, you can set it up so you have creditor protection, bankruptcy, lawsuit, that money's protected, allow you to rebuild your life. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching.
Great stuff. Always great to learn. That's all the time we have. I want to thank you guys for watching. Without you, we would not have a show. Make sure you go to everydayinvestor.com. Sign up for the summit that's happening October 29th. Watch this show again. Watch any past shows, kind of like on demand. Until then, we'll see you next week. Same place, same time. Honey, I love you. I'll be home soon. Bye, everyone.